Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Sonia Jones of GIP Financial, your Mr. Miyagi of Money, and here we are again for another episode of the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. And so today we are talking about a particular episode that I wanted to talk about. That basically just asks one question: where did my money go? We're gonna talk about where your money is going. And within the past, I say a couple of weeks, we've had some discovery calls, and then we just recently had our July um, Know Your Numbers boot camp. And so a couple of topics came up, and it was for a couple of our clients. It was kind of like a aha type of moment, right? My coming to America people, aha. So I wanted to share it on the podcast today, and this is definitely um, episode of love, right? And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew about some things because I think we get so caught up in making money, right? Which is great. We have a product or service that is in high demand, and we're getting money in. But at the end of the day, just because we're bringing money in doesn't necessarily mean that we're making a profit. So I kind of want to keep, kind of preaching that word, if you will. So I got three particular places where your money may be disappearing to. So I hope that you have pen and paper. Make sure that you save this podcast because I assure you that this is going to be helpful for you as we are, as this podcast is being recorded. It's July 2024. And so we are coasting rapidly near the end of the year. So this will be the time that you really need to hone in on what you did, what your business did rather between January and June. And let's get a strategy in place. Even if it's not with GIP, get with a tax preparer, get with a bookkeeper, someone that you know, like, and trust. They can sit with you and walk you through some possible deductions or some strategies that you may not be aware of. Okay? So, the first place, when we ask the question, where did my money go? Here's the first answer: you spent it. You spent it, man. Memphis. So, what I mean when I say you spent it, if you have QuickBooks or if you have accounting software, which I hope that most of you do, there's a report called the profit and loss statement. If you've ever watched any of my webinars, I talk about the tree, right? I talk about the trunk is the balance sheet, the profit and loss is the leaves and the fruit, and then the water that nourishes the tree through its roots is the cash flow statement. So profit and loss, you can only get profit if your business is healthy, right? Which is the balance sheet. And your business can't be healthy unless cash is flowing through it, right? That's the water. So the profit and loss is basically going to tell you how your business is doing within a snapshot of time. It can be a week, it can be a month, a quarter, a year. You can compare years, things like that. And it's really only going to tell you two things: how much money you made in that period of time and how much money you spent during that period of time. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you, right? And so with that, I get a lot of clients that when we, especially for those who have QuickBooks, so we ask for access, we go in there, we pull the reports, and we just start from there. We don't go in there and start categorizing anything, nothing like that. Part of our analysis, especially if you invest in our financial diagnostic, if you have QuickBooks, that's the first thing we're going to ask for is access. So we can go in there and print the reports, see, what's already been done, and we can actually um, see what's been done on kind of like a high level scope when we pull the P&L in the balance sheet, those two in particular. So the profit and loss is going to show us, the income that you're receiving and how it's being um, accounted for and collected, and also the money that's being spent. So, say for example, if your profit and loss is showing that you had a profit of about $5,000, which is great. But when we pull that report, a lot of our entrepreneurs are like, especially like say for example, um, if we pull the P&L in June, say for June, and the profit is $5,000, but your June bank statement says you only have $1,000, right? 9 times out of 10, that $4,000 in profit, the difference, you spent it, and what you spent is not going to show up in the profit and loss. It's going to show up in the balance sheet. There is a certain section in the balance sheet called equity. Equity is basically just another name for ownership. Okay, and the two particular um, metrics there, if you will, are called owner's contribution and owner's draw. Owner's contribution, when you take your personal money and you put it into the business, so you as the owner are investing into the business, so you are adding value to the business. As far as the opposite, if the business is making money and you're pulling money out of the business, you're removing its value, right? So that's what that is. So anytime that you have to say, if you got your business checking account on your phone and you see that you got money in the bank, oh, well, I'm just gonna pull, a certain amount out, pay my bills, take care of some stuff, what have you. If we were to look at your activity and we see that, or we see it on your bank statement, like, what's this money for? Oh, I just used it, to pay some bills, some personal bills. We have to record that to owner's draw because you took money out of the business. Okay, so cash and profit are not the same thing, right? Cash is what's in your bank account. Profit is how your business performed. So that is key, right? Because we have to talk about that with our entrepreneurs a lot, about the difference between cash and profit. And especially if you're a startup and you're still working your 9 to 5, that's why we always say you have to have a plan. Don't jump out there without a plan. Okay, because businesses, you know, have an ebb and flow about them, right? Like I told you guys in previous episodes, I'm currently a full time entrepreneur. At the top of, like, right after tax season, right, kind of got stagnant, right? So we had to pivot and offer some different services, and then we're also offering something in October, which I'm gonna talk about in a little bit later. So you have to be quick on your feet, but then also, especially for those of us who have teams and have to run payroll, right? There's 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to touch my cash flow in my bank account for myself until I pay all my bills, until I pay my people, period. And then if there's anything left, then I'll pay myself. Excuse me, y'all. Going through a little cold, right? So that's the first thing. If you're trying to figure out where your money is, watch your spending. Watch your spending. Second thing, where is your money? Probably in unnecessary expenses. Now let me explain it. A lot of times when we're in business, we're just used to, using certain platforms, and we're not looking to see if those platforms are as effective as they once were, and it's causing us to possibly lose money or spend unnecessary money, right? So I would definitely advise all of my business owners to go back and look at the subscriptions that you have. Make sure that you're not um, subscribing to, similar platforms like email platforms, marketing platforms, CRMs, things like that, live stream platforms that can possibly be doing the same thing, and one might have a different feature than the other. Go ahead and figure out which one's going to be more effective and cancel one, right? Because when we're trying to um, increase our profit, we either have to increase our sales or decrease our expenses. Okay, I had to do a scrub this year, especially once things started getting a little stagnant. I had to actually, because we have multiple credit cards, I had to put a halt on all the credit cards. Make sure I went through and saw all the automatic deductions. I cut a lot of stuff out, and I'm only using one card right now, only one. Right, and even in that, I'm also looking at platforms to see um, what's effective, what's not effective, right? What the ROI is. So you have to do that, and I would definitely suggest that you do that if you can. I would say once a month. That would be ideal, but maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months. Okay, even with your staff, take a look and see if anybody riding the clock, right? Or if there's any type of, repurposing and delegation that you can do with your team, okay, to help with your cash flow. And then another, I won't say an unnecessary expense, but it's definitely something to consider. Excuse me, y'all. Is merchant fees. Hear me clearly. I understand that we want to make um, our customers happy by having multiple methods of payment, such as Stripe, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Square, all of that. But you got to remember, each platform has its own transaction fees and merchant fees. So it's definitely possible that if everybody's purchasing the same product, say it's $50, depending on where they're purchasing the item from, you might be getting less money, right? So that's a big one. Go back and check all the methods of payment that you have and check those transaction fees. And then also find out how many of your customers are using those particular platforms. Because I guarantee you, if you have clients that are only using, like two clients that are only using Square, and most of your folks are using Stripe, I would say keep Stripe. Right? I had a client just recently at the top of the year that's using a particular platform, and she decided, hey, because I think she was using Stripe and PayPal. She realized that I think PayPal was not PayPal. Stripe was using or charging less transaction fees than PayPal. She moved everybody to Stripe. Simple as that, right? So that's definitely one that I see a lot. So check those cotton picking merchant fees because they can be eating you out of house and home, eating up your profits, right? All right, so let's recap. Where's your money going? You either spending it or you might be investing in unnecessary expenses. Last but certainly not least, I would call this either the ignorance slash uh, fear tax, if you will. For those of you who watch, excuse me, Dave Ramsey, he talks about the stupid tax. I don't like the word of calling folks, stupid because a lot of times you just, um, with the information you have, you take the action based off the information that you have, right? And I like to use words that are building people up, not particularly tearing people down. And when we're saying that, you might be paying an ignorant tax, it's because you just simply did not know. And especially when it comes to the IRS, unfortunately, ignorance is not an excuse, right? But I also want to put in here fear because I think too, with a lot of the clients that we talk to, they just like, child, they just delaying the inevitable, and they don't realize that when they're doing that, um, those penalties and fees are continuing to add up. Hey y'all, imagine this. You're leaving your job to pursue full time entrepreneurship, and 30 days later,
Two large tree branches from your backyard tree hit your home, resulting in a 6-month renovation process. So, you know what? That happened to me. But I'm so glad that I was able to plan properly from that transition, that my family's lifestyle wasn't severely impacted. To my side hustle CEOs out there, if you are seriously thinking about full time entrepreneurship, I got 4 words for you. You need a plan. In my ebook, The Financial Freedom Roadmap, I walk you guys through my journey, giving you 5 tips on how to not only plan for your exit the financially smart way, but most importantly, it is not going to, I hope so, to reduce any major disruptions to your family's lifestyle. So if you're interested in that free ebook, click the link below. And I look forward to working with you, and I would love your feedback. Take care.
So here are the two things when I talk about the ignorance slash fear tax. These are the two most popular, and I say probably for 2024 for GIP, that we see that a lot of entrepreneurs are basically wasting money. One is with tax filing, and I want to talk about federal and state tax filing. One, if you know you have a business, right? Um, make sure one that you are filing taxes. And if you know good and well you're not gonna file by the deadline, please get a professional to file an extension for you, right? And especially if you are a business and you're using the 1120 form, if you are a LLC that's taxed as an S corp, or if your business is a C corp, or even a partnership, you need to make sure in particular that you file your extension early, because those entities, the partnership, the LLCs that are taxed as an S corp and a C corp, you have to file your taxes by March the 15th. If you are a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, use the Schedule C form. You file your taxes April the 15th. But if you know you are not going to file by that deadline, please file an extension. Now, hear me clearly. Just because you filed the extension does not mean the IRS is going to give you any type of discount or pause the penalties and interest associated with that late tax filing. It just acknowledges the fact that you asked for the extension. So in the event, if you file, like if you got the Schedule C, if you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietor using the Schedule C form, you have to file that with your personal tax return to 1040. If you file that by October the 15th and you end up owing taxes, the IRS is going to take whatever you owe and it's going to start those penalties and fees on April 16th to October 15th if you pay them fees, if you pay what you owe in taxes by that time. So what happens is, say if you owe $500 and you pay it online by October the 15th, the IRS is eventually going to send you a letter saying, hey, you owe us this in penalties and interest. Okay, that's normally how that goes. So there's that. From a state standpoint, I'm specifically talking to y'all businesses in the state of Tennessee. Part of me, I feel like some of it's not y'all fault though. And I'm gonna call out Tennessee, state of Tennessee. So for those of you who are creating LLCs in the state of Tennessee, the $300 entity fee slash renewal is not the only obligation that you have. You also have an obligation called the franchise and excise tax. Y'all, there are so many businesses out here that are not aware of the franchise and excise tax. And what is happening is that when you are creating these LLCs, and this is kind of where I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit, it's not clearly communicated by the state that this is an obligation that you're also responsible for. And matter of fact, they don't let you know that until it's time for you to renew um, your annual report. And then they might say, oh, by the way, you haven't registered um, to file your F&E tax. So hear me clearly. So after you create your LLC with the state, you have to register for a 10 tap account where you file your taxes, right? And when you get that 10 tap account, you have to manually set yourself up and request an account for your franchise excise tax. That's the part they don't tell you about up front, right? But luckily, the Tennessee Department of Revenue Secretary of State, they have YouTube channels where they talk a little bit more about the F&E tax. Um, so I'll make sure to put the information in the description. Now, when it's time for you to file your F&E tax, you're definitely going to have to. It's going to require you to have your Schedule C form if you are a single member LLC, or if you're an LLC where you're filing as a S corp. If I'm not mistaken, you'll need your 1120. So there's that. Okay. Um, and as you're filing your franchise and excise tax, and you're putting the information in the form, if you need a professional, we can help you do that. Other bookkeepers, CPAs can help you go through that. But at the bare minimum, even if your LLC has not made any money or you don't have any tangible property or assets, the minimum, this is only for the state of Tennessee, the minimum fee is $100. So if nothing else, you have to pay that $100 F&E tax every year, and it's due April the 15th, the same deadline for when you renew your LLC. Okay, a lot of businesses don't know that, and we've gotten several calls to where they've gotten notifications from the state saying that they owe back F&E taxes, or they're trying to apply for a grant, or they're trying to do something where you need that certificate that shows that your entity is not just in good standing, but it's in good standing from a tax perspective, that you've paid all your taxes on time. And it's not going to give you that. I think it's called certificate of existence. I think that's what it's called. If you have not paid your F&E taxes, the Tennessee Secretary of State will not release that certificate of existence for your entity. Yeah. So we plan on probably later on in the year, hopefully with our new platform that I'm going to talk to you about, GIP Academy, we're going to talk more about educating entrepreneurs about that, because that's a big problem that I'm seeing a lot, and it is eating up your cash flow because the state of Tennessee does not care. Right? So tax filing is one thing, and then the second thing when we're talking about the ignorance and fear tax is the multiple entities. There are so many entrepreneurs out here that have multiple LLCs, and then a for-profit and a non-profit. And y'all, I love y'all, right? If y'all don't have the one entity financially organized, y'all trying to do two, it's a circus. And I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that y'all listening to folks on social media saying like, hey, if you got a for-profit, you trying to get some extra tax deduction, have your for-profit make a donation to the non-profit and this, that, and the third. Y'all, just stop. Just stop. If you have multiple entities, before you start opening different entities, whether it's multiple LLCs, and you're trying to make some type of hierarchy of whatever, you're trying to do an umbrella LLC and other entities underneath it, or you got a for-profit and a non-profit, and you're trying to figure out how they intertwine together, y'all, get with an attorney or a CPA before you start doing it. Because what we notice also is whichever organization or whichever entity is the primary entity. Like say if the primary entity is the for profit, and you know what to do with that, the nonprofit is neglected, and especially if you went through all of that process to get it taxes in with your 501c3, if you do not file 990s consecutively for 3 years, the IRS is going to revoke your 501c3 status. You got to go through that process over again, right? So, with multiple entities, you have even more scrutiny and a certain level of oversight and management, which also means accounting, right? So, and then again, also with the nonprofits, if your primary business is a nonprofit, you got your 501c3 intact, you getting your 995, you got your accounting, situated. Then you go for profit, just out here in the wilderness somewhere, and you ain't filed a tax. Look, y'all, just because you have not made money in that business does not mean you don't file taxes on it. You still got to file. Even though you ain't make no money, you just got to still file to acknowledge it, y'all. Y'all quit doing that. Stop doing it. Because when the rubber meets the road, it's time for you to, get a loan or grant something like that. They want to see that your business is legit, so you still have to file that entity. Okay, even if you didn't make any money, but you still, had some startup costs, you still got to file it, y'all. You still got to file it. Okay, so you can't stop doing that. Don't say, "Oh, well, my business didn't make any money." You still got to file it. Still got to file it. Okay. So, and then again, what happens with that is if you're, scared, or, the fact that maybe you hadn't filed taxes on your business in a while, you're just like, "Ooh, child, I'm just not even gonna touch it. I'm just gonna be like, ooh, see no evil, hear no evil," right? The IRS is like, the penalties, interest, fees, just constantly just going boop, 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 just constantly just calculating up. Y'all, we gotta stop doing that. Boop, got time out, stop doing that, blow the whistle. Gotta stop doing that. Okay. And then if you're in a position like that, all you got to do is just reach out to somebody, reach out to a CPA, especially for the entity structure. Reach out to a CPA or an attorney. Okay, we can give you basic information, but if you try to do something super complex, reach out to an attorney or a CPA. At GIP Financial, we're gonna let you know our threshold, but we also have partners that we work with that can give you the answer that you need. Okay, but when it comes to also your tax filing, hey, the only way you're gonna get through it, or the only way you're gonna get over it, is to go through it. Okay, especially when it comes to those federal and state taxes. So y'all, if you know you hadn't filed, gird yourself up, build yourself up in your most holy faith, save up your coins, file those taxes, and just get ready for the penalties, interest, and fees. Just brush yourself. Because I promise you, at the end, you don't want to be in a position where your business is growing, it's doing well, but you have these small technicalities to where you can't go where you need to go. Y'all, that's just not, it's not cute. So if you need help, make sure you get the help that you need. All right, so where'd your money go? We're gonna recap. You spent it, check your unnecessary expenses, and then be a big girl, be a big boy, and let's handle those taxes, right? 2024 is gonna be a year where we're not gonna be ignorant and we're not gonna be scared, because you got to ask for help. Okay, so I hope this podcast episode brought some clarity, and hopefully you're not scared to go through and get what you need, especially my Tennessee businesses. Let's go ahead and get that in. Um, what I wanted to share with you guys in October, at the beginning of quarter 4, we are going to launch a community that is so needed right now. It's called GIP Academy. And so, what we are doing for entrepreneurs who are doing their own bookkeeping, whether you're a starter or a seasoned entrepreneur, we are noticing that with all of the issues that we are, talking to our clients about, had they had a trusted financial expert at the beginning, or at least a more affordable resource, that I think that would be, an opportunity for them to kind of, you know, get over the humps, if you will, of going through a business. Because a lot of these financial, situations that are going on is enough to halt a business and shut a business down altogether, right? So with GIP Academy, we are solving the problem of having affordable expert, um, having an affordable subject matter expert resource, if you will, for entrepreneurs and nonprofit organizations that need financial assistance. So it's going to be an online membership for $97 a month. That's our beta price. And we are going to be looking for entrepreneurs that'll help us out with a little bit of research and development. So with GIP Academy, it's going to come with 3 major components. One is going to be our online library. So every webinar that we've done in the past, that was fee based, like the $10 classes, the $27, $47 classes, we are putting them all in one platform where you're going to be able to access them. But it's going to be drip content and it's going to be in order. Why? Because I love y'all. So we want to make sure that you have a process and learn your numbers in a specific way. And we don't want you to get overwhelmed either. So as you're going through each one, once you complete it, you'll be able to access the next class and the next class and so forth. It's self-paced. You can go at your leisure. And we're also going to add 3 courses that are kind of like our signature workshops, which is bookkeeping basics for entrepreneurs. If you've ever been to any one of our, nonprofit like BBA, City of Memphis, anything like that, we've done bookkeeping basics for entrepreneurs a couple years ago, and also the business finance blueprint. If you were with Orange Mound, Kingdom Community Builders, or Score CDC, we did those in person. And so we're actually going to do an online series for that. That's going to be in GIP Academy. And that's going to focus more on money systems. Okay. And then, of course, grants aren't free. And so we're going to add the grants aren't free live stream into GIP Academy, that 3-day series that we did in May. So for those of you who are interested in grants, right, and trust me, you are not going to get access to that program until you have a good understanding of how to track your numbers. There you go. So we got that. The second pillar is going to be, we're going to have monthly live teaching in the community, which could be Q&A, because we're going to be interacting with you guys throughout the community, at least a couple times a week, checking in on you guys, asking you what you want to talk about. And of course, like I said, we are chock full of resources, and we got plenty of experts to come in and talk to you about specific things. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, because we are targeting entrepreneurs who are doing their own bookkeeping. I don't know if you guys were aware, but there are 70% of entrepreneurs that don't have a trusted financial expert. And of the 70%, 64% of those entrepreneurs are doing their own bookkeeping and have admitted that they don't know what they're doing. So that's the problem that we're solving. But as you're doing your bookkeeping, especially throughout the quarters, we want to make sure that we make ourselves available to you to check your financials and offer you the coaching that you need. So also in GIP Academy, once a quarter, you'll be able to schedule an appointment with our team for us to review your financials give you some guidance, and answer some of the questions that you have. So you're getting all of that for $97 a month. You're not gonna find that anywhere else, especially live access to me and our accounting crew, and also we have our partnership team that's going to be in there loving on y'all, make sure that they're going to be moderating the community, make sure that all your needs are being met. So we are building this out as we speak. So our goal hopefully is to open the beta season in September and then have the official launch in October. So we are excited about that. And so if you want more information about that, make sure that you click the link in the description to join our email list, or to also join our Grants Are Free Facebook community. Because if you're on one of those lists, you're going to get access to GIP Academy first. Okay, so membership has its privileges. All right, so that's all I have for you today, and I hope that you guys have an amazing week. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care, y'all. Have a good one. And as always, know your numbers.
Thank y'all so much for listening to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. Again, I'm Sonia Jones of GIP Financials. You're Mr. Miyagi of Money, but I got a couple of homework assignments for you before you leave this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also leave a comment and let us know what your biggest takeaways were from this episode. And if you are looking for bookkeeping assistance or you need a money thought buddy, make sure that you go to our website, www.gipfinancials.com, and click on the schedule a consultation button at the top of our website, little green box. And you can schedule a discovery call and talk to one of our teammates to see if we're a good fit. All right. See you guys on the next episode. Take care.